Mithitalai to Koliyad. A river is a traveler from birth, day in and day out, non-stop for millennia, she goes on. Even when the earth is in deep slumber, a river runs on and on. She knows neither tiredness nor repose. Keep moving, keep moving. This is her vocation and her message to the world. Here at the mouth, the Narmada is about 20 kilometers wide. The south bank is shallow and very muddy. There is very clean sand on the north shore, and the water is deep too. Harikadham is at the river's mouth, and Mithitalai, where we stayed, is nearby. The recluse at the temple there was very quiet and soft-spoken. He too was from Madhya Pradesh. He was very happy to meet us. Guman said he would come back in 3 or 4 days. I told him he has some special business with you. Guman is in big trouble. A while ago, a fight broke out in his village and a man was killed. Guman's name was given as one of the assailants by the dead man's kin. But Guman was here that day. He wasn't there at all. He had come over with the pilgrim boat. He stayed the night as well. He wants me to give a statement that he was here that day. So what is the problem? Well, I am quite willing to give a statement, but it would mean appearing as a witness in court later. I want to live my life in peace, but on the other hand, it's not good for an innocent man to be convicted. I am in a strange dilemma of duty. Then he told us this story. The pujari at the temple in a nearby village was very pious. There were several acres of land attached to the temple. However, the ownership of some of that land had not been transferred to the temple. It was still in the name of a previous donor. His descendants, taking advantage of this loophole, filed a claim in court. They said the land was theirs, illegally occupied by the temple. When the pujari received the summons, he was deeply upset. What was the need to go to court, he said. If he had asked for the land back, I would have given it. Now I will not stay a moment longer in this village. And he came here. He settled under that banyan tree. Gradually, he built a simple hut. This house was built much later. Didn't the village people come to conciliate him? They came, but he declined. Take me back after I die, he said. And that's what happened. His funeral was in that village, but he never went back there when he was alive. After a pause, he said, nobody likes going to a law court, least of all sannyasis. But if I don't go, an innocent man will be convicted. I am in a strange dilemma. But I am sure the Lord will get me out of this somehow. Such crises happen in life when we lack the courage to go ahead and feel ashamed to go back. We were walking on the seashore in the evening. The tide had receded. When sea water withdraws, it leaves its mark on the sand. Patterns, samplers of embroidery, folds and pleats. It was Diwali. At night, the sound of singing came from the nearby village of Jageshwar. So Malai and I went over there. The men and women of the village were gathered in a large courtyard where the women were dancing the garba and singing. A henna was planted in Malwa, but its color reached Gujarat. They were filled with enthusiasm and exultation. Their feet pattered as lightly as though they were flying through the air. As a result of the drought, these women had to fetch water from Mithitalai all day long. Yet now all cares forgotten. They were dancing with joy and delight. They manifested the deep faith and unconquerable spirit of mankind. We went to see the high tide at midnight, but it was nothing spectacular, no frenzied dance of Shiva. If the tide had been crashing onto a rocky shore, there would have been big breakers. But here it is a level sandy beach, so the sea could not come galloping in like a horse. The waves of the sea advanced up the beach and receded again, advanced and receded. We watched, mesmerized, for quite a long time, then went back. It was still dark when I woke up. In a little while we would have to move on from here. But there was another reason for me to wake up so early. In Gujarat, Diwali is the last day of the year. The new year begins on the following day in the Vikram calendar. Everyone gets up at dawn, washes, then wishes each other a happy new year. The young pay their respects to elders by touching their feet. I will go and pay my respects to Mother Narmada, I thought. I might never get such an opportunity again. In the silence before dawn, it was quite wonderful to be alone with the Narmada. Her peaceful beauty was so overwhelming that I lost myself in it. As the new day issued from the womb of dawn, I joined my hands and prayed to Mother Narmada. The first greeting of the new year. O Holy Narmada, I touch your lotus feet in veneration. An inexpressible peace pervaded my being. I was about to go back when I suddenly thought of my father. On this day, every year, my very first act was to touch my father's feet. But my father had passed away over a year ago, at the age of 87. He was such a lover of nature, so fond of literature. I had inherited both these qualities from him. Enjoying long walks is another gift I got from him. When he died, I felt as though my wings had been clipped and I was no longer able to fly. But I consoled myself. No, my father has not gone. His body is not here, but he is still empowering me, still desiring my well-being in spirit. A father's love which gives inner toughness to sons is with me even now. Standing at the meeting point of the Narmada and the sea, I paid my respects to my late father and mother. How peaceful it is at Mithitalai. We could easily spend a couple of weeks here, but we have to go. What better day than this, the first day of the year, to start our North Bank walk. A new chapter of our journey started from here. Up to now, we were on the South Bank, journeying from the source of the Narmada towards the mouth. Now we would walk along the North Bank, going from the mouth towards the source. We bade farewell to the sannyasis with heavy hearts. We had spent only 4 days together, but both of them will remain in my memory for a long time. Sometimes a chance acquaintance like this leaves a profound impression. We had had a few days' rest, both here and at Katpur. Anil's feet had been badly hurt by his sandals. Samlal's bare feet had been cut and pierced by thorns. My feet had blisters. But now we were all fit to go on again. When we sat down for a rest at a spot beyond Jageshwar, Anil asked, "What is the use of a religion? Is not law enough? Would not the world go on just as well without religion? The law says, don't steal, don't rob. But the law can't say, give generously, make sacrifices. It says, don't shed blood, don't murder. But it can't say, sacrifice your life for others. Only religion can say this. The law says don't commit crimes, whereas religion says that is not enough. Do some good deeds. In this way, where the law ends, religion takes over. The law is necessary. It saves society from anarchy, protects our rights, but religion uplifts society. Only religion can inspire us to renunciation, selfless service, and joyful sharing. That is not within the power of the law. Malay and Samlal were also listening intently to my words. So I pursued the subject. When we go shopping, we give the shopkeeper 1 rupee, and he gives us 1 rupee's worth of goods. That's a matter of justice, a matter of law. Give as much as you get. That's fair. If society kept to this, it would be good enough. But what we want is to give 1 rupee and get more than a rupee's worth of goods. Similarly, what the shopkeeper wants is to get the rupee and give less than a rupee's worth. So he gives short measure or adulterates the stuff. Get more, give less, that's unfair. It's against the law too. If there was no injustice, there would be no courts either. But there's a third way of looking at it. There could be a customer who gives 1 rupee and only wants less than a rupee's worth of goods in return. Likewise, there could be a shopkeeper who gives more than a rupee's worth of goods for 1 rupee. You would say, does this ever happen? Yes, it happens. Mahatma Gandhi and Vinoba are the best examples. How little they took from society and how much they gave in exchange. They took 2 chapatis and a loincloth from society and in return devoted their entire lives to the service of mankind. True saints, social workers, sincere teachers, farmers and laborers doing backbreaking work, they all fall into this category. These people are the salt of the earth, taking less and giving more. That is religion. We could call it religion or humanism. The law is necessary, but it is not enough. We should not stop at the level of the law. We should go beyond it and scale the peak of spirituality. After some time, Anil asked another question. Do you believe in rebirth? Supposing I believe in it and you don't, then I am right and you are right too. How can it be? Said Anil. We are on the north bank of the Narmada and that's true. And we are on the south bank and that's true too. How can 2 contradictory things be true at the same time? As Abhay Muni was not with us, now I was the wise man. In such gross matters it's not true, I began, but in subtle questions it may be true. One idea can contradict another and yet both be true. In such matters, a lot depends on the ground you stand on, your attitude or your point of view. If somebody's life is strengthened by believing in rebirth, it is a blessing for him. Ultimately, it's a matter of faith, not of reason. So, in such matters, instead of saying only this is true, we should say this may also be true. In these matters, it is not either or, but both. After a pause, I resumed, sometimes it feels as if this body of ours is just like a village on a river. As a river flows along, one village after another comes and goes. In the same way, the great golden river of life flows on through countless bodies. In the end, the river meets the sea. The soul meets God. If you look at it this way, belief in rebirth comes easily and the desire for proof does not arise. Anil was listening intently to my words. To pursue the subject further, I went on. Then there's The idea that a previous life is way back in the past and a rebirth is well ahead in the future. Let's just consider the present life. We don't even know what is going to happen next week. So why worry about future lives? When this kind of idea comes to mind, it seems quite unnecessary to believe in rebirth. That's why I haven't yet decided whether I believe in rebirth or not. Still, let's suppose for the moment that I believe in it and you don't believe in it. Then I am right and you are right too. In these matters, too, it is not either or, but both. As it is tiring to work for a long time, we sit in the shade somewhere and talk about something or other. So, we can sit as long as possible. We arrived in Koliyad in the harsh heat and made our camp under a tree at the edge of a pond. It was a clean and tidy place where all Parikrama-vasis stayed. We were sitting in the evening after dinner when people began to arrive, both men and women. We found out that they were members of a group doing social work among the poor, which met there once a week. They all sat down in an orderly way and chanted Sanskrit verses for some time. They also sang hymns. Then one gentleman stood up and said, "One of the pilgrims who have come here today is a teacher. The rest are his students. May I entreat him to do us the kindness of saying a few words?" "Brothers and sisters," I said in Gujarati, "we have listened to your rhythmic chanting of Sanskrit verses with rapt attention. It was quite delightful. Yesterday at Jageshwar, we watched women dancing the Garba. None of them watched the others dancing. They all joined in. Today we heard your singing. None of you were merely listening to the songs. You all joined in. Singing and dancing oneself is the highest pleasure. Watching others is second-hand pleasure. We should be participants, not spectators. Active, creative pleasure is true pleasure. That is what I have found here today and I am very pleased." Everyone was listening attentively to my speech. Pleasure used to be in outdoor things: rivers, mountains, forests, holy places, flowers and birds. Now everything is inside, in the television. Television has made us antisocial and passive. And it has not even given us pleasure in exchange, only the shadow of pleasure. I was carried away by my impassioned speech. The old saying goes, "Eyes thirsty for the vision of God." These days, though eyes are thirsty for television, it has stuffed our minds with rubbish. What mental pollution it spreads around. I was about to launch another fierce attack on television when I realized that there was no point speaking against television as the village did not have any. Although people were listening very appreciatively, I changed the subject and told them some anecdotes about the Narmada Parikrama. At the end, people asked questions and I answered them. "You speak very good Gujarati," people said. Anil said, "I could understand everything you said, but I can't understand local Gujarati at all." Actually, the local people speak very fast. At times they swallow their words. Pronunciation is different too. Otherwise, what difference is there between Hindi and Gujarati? Hearing Malawi, Nimari or Rajasthani, we often get the impression we are listening to Gujarati. Because Gujarat is situated at the edge of India. Gujarati developed into an independent language. Otherwise, Gujarati, both the language and the script, is a simple form of Hindi. Gujarati is the closest language to Hindi. Since our arrival in Gujarat, we never had to search for a place to stay. Temples with dharamsalas attached are to be found everywhere, and sadabrat facilities too. But this convenience is at the cost of losing intimacy with the villagers. Previously, when we stayed at the home of a villager, we developed a close relationship with the whole family. Now, this does not happen. We were lucky today to make close contact with these village people. We went on in the morning while we were on the south bank. We walked from east to west. Thus, until noon, the sun was at our back, and only in the afternoon was it in our faces. Now, on the north bank, we are going from west to east, and we are dazzled by the sun's strong rays from early morning. A villager joined us along the way. "Where are you going?" he asked. When we told him the name of the village, he said, "My sister lives there. It's Bhai Dooj today. You know, so I am going to see my sister, find out how she is." May every sister have such a caring brother. We arrived in Bharbhut in the afternoon. Bharbhut is on the bank of the Narmada, as is the temple and the dharamsala where we stayed. Floods and ebbing tides were playing a game in the river. We went off again at dawn. The trail was usually beside the river. There were no crops in the fields and baked earth everywhere. When our walk is over, my 3 companions will be going straight back to Jabalpur, but I will leave 3 days later. "When you take my things back to my house," I said to Anil, "my wife will naturally ask about me when she does not see me. Then you tell her that I have become a sannyasi. Say that on the trip we met 2 sannyasis. I was so influenced by them that I decided to renounce the world." Then pause for a bit, watch my wife's expression. Then say in a very somber voice, "When we heard this, we were speechless. Whatever had come over sir?" We protested vehemently. He took no notice of what we said. But the sannyasis themselves and the temple pujari protested a lot, scolded him rather, until he changed his mind. He said, "All right then, I won't renounce the world, but I will complete the parikrama. I will return home after the pilgrimage is over. Don't worry, sir will come after about 3 months. After saying all that, stop. Seeing my wife about to burst into tears, keep quiet and give her my letter. In the letter I will write that I will be back in 3 days. Then quickly slip away. Well, can you do it?" "I could never manage to say all that," said Anil. I knew Anil would not be able to do it. Anil and Samlal speak very little. Anil can go all day without saying a word. How would he manage such a long speech? I looked at Malai hopefully. "Well, Malai, what do you say?" "I will say it." "Good for you, but say it with a grieving expression, or you will give the game away. If you can, squeeze out a couple of tears too." Malai had taken up the challenge, but he could not carry it out. That was how the play was written, but never enacted. We reached Bharuch at last around noon. Here, too, the tides were playing their game. The water level came sometimes close to that bank, sometimes close to this. It looked as if the Narmada was swinging back and forth between the 2 banks. After traveling through the cleanliness of hills and fields, the city was very disappointing. At one time, however, Bharuch had been busiest seaport in the west of India. Local and foreign ships plied there, trading with several countries in Asia and Europe. How grand and prosperous the city must have been in those days. Even today, it is probably the biggest city on the river bank. Now the time has come to take leave of my readers, and for us to go our separate ways. We finished our journey further on at Nareswar, but I am ending my account of it here. As I leave, I would like to say that I have only been able to touch on a fraction of the Narmada's beauty. The unfathomable ocean is before me, but I can take from it only as much as my cup will hold. And of that little, I am able to express even less. Did I even see the entire beauty of Narmada? I did not spend a Chaturmas monsoon retreat on her bank, beside her terrifying boiling current, nor did I experience the bone-chilling cold of her mountains and forests. I did not experience the extreme hunger of pilgrims who failed to receive alms. I did not observe the rules of the parikrama, neither walking barefoot nor living on alms. I had not even completed the whole parikrama. Nevertheless, I did see quite a lot. I saw the beginning of the Narmada. I saw her being enriched by other rivers, and I saw her vanishing into the sea. I saw the river fiddling with the banks, saw her scribbling on the rocks, saw her doodle designs on the sand. I walked the whole way on foot, from source to sea. Remembering those days, even now I feel the thrill of that atmosphere. How many days of sheer joy I have spent on the banks of the Narmada, forgetting home and family, my job, everything. I saw the Narmada every day, and every day she was a new experience. I kept walking from dawn to dusk and knocking on the doors of unknown people at evening. I stayed in the homes of those good simple villagers and found the beauty of the Narmada in their pure hearts. The warmth of their affection is forever in my heart. It feels as though even now their affection is pouring over me from afar. I walked with Parikramabasis who have filled their stomachs with coarse, simple food, enjoyed carefree sleep, slung their bags on their shoulders at first light and went on. I could see only a part of the Narmada's beauty. If partial beauty is so magnificent, I wonder what her total beauty must be like. After returning from the Narmada, her beauty keeps dancing before my eyes. Her song keeps echoing in my ears. That is what my heart wants to shout at the top of its voice. Listen, I have come from the bank of the Narmada. I have come bringing a little of her beauty. Please take it, and if you wish for more, lock the door of your house one morning at daybreak and go straight to the Narmada. Are you listening, you people? Mother Narmada, I will come again and again to your side. Perhaps I will complete the rest of the parikrama. But here I rest my pen. Oh, there is one more thing I want to say. I came to your bank, walked for several days each time, and then I went home. But one day I will come in such a way that I will not go away again. I will come to sleep forever in sweet slumber. Then stroke me and lull me to sleep. That is all. That is my sole ambition. Fulfill it, mother.